Show. 216-578-1007 or 1-800-348-1007.
35192 if you want to send a text. AlanCoxShow.com you want to watch. Who's helping out today? Ooh, Butsy Farts a lot. Thanks so much for helping out there back in our spacious video department. Do appreciate your assistance. We'll get to the Poundcake Sports Break a little bit later on. We'll have tickets for you for the 2023 iHeartRadio Alter Ego Festival. That's back out in L.A. in January with the Chili Peppers and Muse and Jack White and many more out there at the T-Mobile Arena. I believe is where we maybe that's not where we do it. That's where we do the music festival. That's so many goddamn festivals with this company. And I haven't been to one of them. This one happens at the Fall Out Boy, Phoenix, Muse.
Love Fall Out Boy.
Well, you should go to this thing.
I can't.
So you can win those tickets before they go on sale to everybody else. Around 5:10 every day this week. Tomorrow, we'll get Terry the Goat's Week 7 NFL picks. We'll have Poundcake's weekly weigh-in. He's been on a good trajectory as we get closer to the end of the year, and his shot at $200. Comedian Ryan Singer will be in here with us. Haven't seen him in a minute.
I'm opening for him on Thursday.
Ryan Singer
Love
and Bill
Ryan
Squire.
Singer, yeah.
Tomorrow night at Hilarities.
That's right.
So we'll put these two crazy kids in the same room together before the show tomorrow night. Cavaliers play tonight. They're in Toronto to start the regular season against the Raptors. The tip-off is 7:30, so 7 o'clock is when that pregame will start up here on MMS. I was reading about some people who are suing Amazon because their kids committed suicide. And their contention is that, listen, if a kid wants to commit suicide, if a person wants to commit suicide, there may be fits and starts, and there may be some foiled attempts. But unless you can really get to the reason behind it, you're not going to stop them from doing it. If somebody has gotten their brain and their heart to the point where they see that as the only possible option, then there's very little you can do to stop it. So they will come up with new and inventive ways to do it. And so parents are calling these things suicide kits because that's not obviously what they are. But Amazon sells a product called sodium nitrite, which is just a food preservative. But as with any other chemicals, if you have too much of it, it can be fatal. And so in food, it's used in relatively low concentrations. We all know it from like they go, oh, bacon and hot dogs and all these other kinds of things are full of nitrites and things like that, right? These food preservatives. But you can buy it on Amazon. And there have been a couple of kids who have bought it and then overdosed on it. And the families now are suing Amazon, saying that this is as deadly as cyanide. And, it'd be like if Amazon sold them rope or knives or other things, blah, blah, blah.
Does Amazon sell rope and knives?
I'm sure Amazon sells ropes and knives, yes. But these families are upset because they're saying that their kids shouldn't have been able to get this stuff on there. And what it calls into question for me is, they might have a point, they might not, but I, just anecdotally, am constantly amazed at the things that you now have to show your ID for. So you can go on Amazon and buy however much sodium nitrite you need to take yourself out, but all kinds of other weird things you still get carded for. And what did it used to be that you got carded for? Obviously booze. Then it went to like cigarettes, obviously those things. Then it moved
some
to
medicines.
Spray paint.
Okay.
Right. When people were robo-tripping, you'd have to go show your ID if you were buying a bunch of NyQuil. Hell, I bought crazy glue at Walmart a couple of weeks ago. I'm standing there with my daughter, and the light goes on overhead, and it says, clerk will be over to check your ID. And it didn't hit me at first. And I'm standing there. I'm like, okay. And I'm waiting, And the lady, older lady it's a self-checkout. Older lady next to me, she goes, it's in case people sniff it. I go, oh, I know why they do it, but who are we really trying to save here? Like I said, if you're trying to take yourself out, you're going to find a way to do it. I mean, no, I get sniffing glue, but I'm not sure why I'm showing my ID for it. So they should just have you show your ID for everything. When you walk in, scan your ID, and then you can buy whatever you want. Do I have to show my ID for bread? Yeah, I got to show your ID for bread because it's got what apples? There's trace amounts of arsenic and cyanide or whatever in apples. Do I show my ID for apples?
They're going on bread overdoses.
That's one of those situations, and it's a trait about myself that I don't like. Is when something like that happens and it makes me feel like the get off my lawn guy, because I'm not the get off my lawn guy, contrary to popular belief. But when you got to check my ID because I'm trying to buy crazy glue, I'm like, yeah, listen, man, I get it, but like, to what end are we doing this? You're not going to stop people from sniffing glue if that's what they're going to do.
Right.
It's not hard to get.
What are they going to do if they see, like, what flags you from buying glue?
Well, and can they go somewhere else? Can you go to like a craft store? Would they ID you there?
I don't know.
Probably not, right?
And again, I should say, that's if this lady is correct. That's what she said to me, and that's what I was thinking. But maybe there's some nefarious thing going on with crazy glue that I'm not hip to. Maybe
it's
the kids
protesters. It's the one they're throwing soup on the paintings.
Maybe it's the kids on the TikTok that are doing the crazy glue sniffing challenge, and I'm just not down with it. But I was like, I assume that's what it is. And so I stood there, and my daughter's like, why are we standing here? I'm like, because I have to wait for another adult to come and check my ID because I'm buying crazy glue. No, listen, if you go to Home Depot where they sell all kinds of heavy-duty adhesives, they're not carding you for that.
I'm surprised they haven't had to change the name of crazy glue yet.
To mentally challenged glue?
Just, you know.
Well, you know what saves them? Spell it with a K. So they're clearly playing around. If they called it crazy glue with a C, they spelled it crazy clue.
Yep.
Definitely want to do crazy clue with 2 Ks. That's skating on thin ice right there.
Yeah. So these parents are suing Amazon for essentially the same thing. Why didn't you card my teen when they were trying to buy a food preservative? It's like, well, I mean, it's an awful situation, you know, and obviously you're just devastated as a parent in that situation too, and you're looking for anybody to
what I think is crazy is if this is something that is coming from TikTok, how that gets through. But whenever I post a joke with a naughty word in it, they're like, whoa, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's why people...
And then, like, I appeal it, and they go, oh, actually, you can.
That's why people, like, rightfully complain about whatever the algorithms and the gatekeepers are on social media. It is funny when they're like, big tech is too woke. Yeah, big tech's real woke. Nice buzzword. It just happens to not be true. Get whatever you want. Just go to a Walmart and they'll card you. If you want to, hold on. Hello, Bill.
Hey, Al. Hate the show.
Thank you. What's up?
Also hate all this rain, but just wanted to comment that, you know, they ID you now for spray paint.
Yes.
And they and crazy glue. Yet, like, you can buy drain cleaner, like a heavy duty drain cleaner that will, you know, if you get it on your skin, it goes down to your bone, you know, and you can't breathe it. Rescue mask. You would buy that if you're 10 years old. I mean,
well, again, if you sent your 10-year-old off to get buy drain cleaner, there's a couple other questions I might have too. But I don't know if like all they need is for someone's
got to clean up the water that's spilling out everywhere.
If I don't know if it's just in response to people using it a certain way and they don't do anything until something like that happens. They can't be throwing darts at a board to figure out what they're.
I don't know about that. You know what's also crazy is I've never seen this. I mean, I've seen it personally, but ready? I got breaking news. So if you go to Aldi's, there's no more people to check out. It's all machines. There's maybe one person.
Yeah.
So when you go to buy beer, they actually have beer there at Aldi's. You scan it, and nobody comes over to check your ID. So you could send your 10-year-old in for your favorite wine. It's very, very interesting. If you have a boring day, Al, go to Aldi's and try that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it fits with your theme of you can barely buy crazy glue, but you can buy a case of a case of beer when you're 10.
Yeah, again, these things are never done capriciously. It's just I'm curious what the reasons are for doing this. Okay, thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Well, but we kind of glossed over it there. But if Aldi is going all robots, and you have to put your food in a box,
Pay me.
like they tore it. The Aldi closest to us, they tore it completely down to the ground, down to the studs, and they're rebuilding it much, much bigger. And I wonder if it's going to be all robots in there doing the you got to do your own thing.
You are coming with me.
Right. You got to do your own thing. And but walking out with being 10 and walking out with a case of beer doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems to me like obviously they're going to have a way to get around that.
Right. Well,
you don't want to constantly open yourself up to lawsuits.
Like he said, there is still someone. There's one person still there, and then I think they still have people.
They're like a club
in
bouncer.
The stores, yeah, that are like if they see something suspicious, probably monitoring the camera. They go, these ones we're gonna need to check.
I see. You need somebody to fix the robots.
Also, Aldi is so close to being like, hey, trucks come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you want something, come get it off the truck. Like, I feel like that's the next step is that they're just like, we don't need stores anymore. Here's your pallet days. You got to buy 500 strawberries at once so you don't shop here. You know what I mean? Like, they are just cutting out so many.
Oh, and we're raising the carts to 2 quarters.
Right.
How you
what
like
do you need
them
a cart
apples?
for? You're taking it straight off the truck. Like someone's selling their food stamps. I got all these steaks.
Well,
That's what Aldi feels like.
Aldi's pretty smart, though, because when I was a kid, man, you didn't go to Aldi. Then they kind of upped their game to where now people are like, hey, Aldi, okay, all right. So you get people there back into a whole new paradigm, right? And marketing's better, and then you whip it on them. You're going to do everything. You're
That's
just going to
what I'm
get
saying.
it
Are you
off the back
saving
of this truck.
enough for that to work there?
Don't know.
There's people that would do if it meant they saved $4. They'd be like, yeah, I'll take it off the truck.
Yeah, stuff's expensive now, and it ain't gonna get cheap anytime soon.
That's what everybody's saying. There's all these articles going around. There's like the next 3 to 6 months are gonna be
6 to 9 months recession.
Or 6 to 9 months. Yeah, everything is gonna be crazy, crazy expensive, and not to make any purchases, and don't start eating ramen noodles, and like it's a very doom and gloom on the internet right now.
It's why the IRS shifted the tax brackets. Everybody's gonna get a little bit of money back.
Right. Well, we're in another phase of it,
Right now, it's doom and gloom on the internet.
Yeah,
this just started.
There's a new phase of it right now.
Yeah.
Where this is like
up until now, it was really nice on the internet.
I thought so.
And then, Aldi came along and ruined it. That's what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Aldi ruined the internet.
Aldi ruined
Pictures
the
at 11. If you want to leave us messages, you can on the Alan Cox Show After Hours line if you don't want to call us live. It's 216-986-8903.
Alan, Joey Gaskets down here in Akron. Regarding...
hello? Oh, I thought I had it here. Hold on.
Alan, Joey Gaskets down here in Akron. Regarding the bureau chief, where the FM signal doesn't travel. Well, I'm down here in Akron. But when I work in a steel building, steel garage, and the FM signal doesn't carry in there. So I wonder if I could be a bureau chief in my steel garage in Akron.
I'm going to need a judge's ruling on that.
Well, you say the far-flung regions of Ohio.
Yeah, a warehouse in Akron are not the far-flung reaches of Ohio.
It's a steel building.
If it was lead, I would say give it to him. But because it's not, I say not a bureau chief.
All right, you heard it here first.
Also, Blues Brothers. Please talk about the Blues Brothers. You're a Chicagan.
A Chicagan, yeah.
Chicago. A lot of great music. Have you seen it? Do you like it? Talk about the Blues Brothers.
I love
please.
It. Out of the blue. Yeah, you tell him, Mel.
One of the most overrated comedies of all time.
Agreed.
I've never seen it.
It is not that fun.
Blues Brothers really benefited from the initial blush of Saturday Night Live, which its own self was really uneven in the first few seasons. And so they were like, oh, my God, let's do. Yeah, no. The Blues Brothers is one of those movies I saw one time, and I was like, okay.
That's what it is.
Very overrated movie.
Yeah, I think I was talking about it on my podcast, and I think AJ and Brian Kenny were saying, oh, it's a great movie. No, it is very medium.
Well, all I think is the people who love that movie clearly got something out of it that I did not.
Right.
And I'm not sure what that is. It was a huge hit. I mean, when it was out, because of Saturday Night Live. And so, an Animal House, I think Blues Brothers was after Animal House. So Belushi and Aykroyd were like, oh, we did this dumb bit that people seem to like. Let's make a movie out of it. And they shot it in Chicago, and it John Landis directed, I think.
John Belushi is also very overrated to me. I never got it.
The comedy was very different in the 70s, too. It was kind of like,
Like in Animal House, Animal House doesn't hold up at all.
See, I like Animal House a lot.
I think it's...
Not necessarily because of him. I think Animal House is a funny movie, but it's very much of the time.
It's very much of the time, but it's also... I wasn't of that time.
Right.
So I watch it and I go, there's... Like, I get the groundbreakingness of it, but it just wasn't a great movie.
Right.
And John Belushi, like all the sketches that are supposed to be these all-time funny SNL sketches, I'm just like not into him. He just doesn't do it for me.
You don't like Samurai Hotel?
Ugh.
What? Yeah. No, I have a Blues Brothers T-shirt for a non-existent in Blues Brothers. They went to Ray's Music Exchange in Calumet City, and I have a Ray's Music Exchange beat-up T-shirt that I like. But as the movie, it's not. I would not even put it in my top 20. Like, it's not. And then they did the awful John Goodman sequel 20 years ago, and it was a whole thing. But I mean, it's it's considered a classic movie. It's just not one that I ever enjoyed more than once. Although they do stop in Kokomo, Indiana. We were talking about Kokomo the other day because Poundcake thought that the Beach Boys song was originally done by the Muppets.
Oh.
And not the other way around.
Shut up, Mary.
And so Kokomo, Indiana is one of their stops there in the Blues Brothers. But anyway, thanks for the call. I got to take a break. I will have another $1,000 for you on the way at 3:30. Next keyword for you to go fund yourself. We're coming back here. I'll have those Streetlight Manifesto tickets for you. So if you dig those guys, they're coming through in a couple of weeks.